Ever since my last time in Shobra, I had not been able to shake the breakfast from my mind. First, there were the eggs, hard-boiled, chopped, and topped with tahini and chili powder. Next were the beans. Nothing special here, just beans and water, with more chili powder. Let's see if you start to see a pattern. For our first stop on the eggplant train, we had them pureed, with oil, salt, and yes, more chili. Some more beans, and that brings us to the pepper bowl. An assortment of peppers, partially mashed, and mixed with oil. You can eat them normally, but it is also customary to sip the juices from the bowl to give your breakfast a little bit of a kick. Tomatoes, fresh red goodness whose succulence gives a beautiful balance to the fried falafel or reprieve from the spiciness of the peppers. That brings us to the jewel of the meal, the falafel. Egyptian falafel isn't actually falafel at all, but its cousin, tamaya, made with fava beans instead of chickpeas, mixed with parsley, cilantro, garlic and onion, and centered with a mix of peppers and spices. Dropped into piping hot oil and served fresh, tamaya is the cornerstone of the average Egyptian's everyday diet. New today was the cheese, mixed with tomatoes and cucumber, and of course, chili. And finally, more eggplant. Served here with peppers and preserved lemons that you eat whole, Egyptians also bake it, fry it, pickle it, and stuff it with rice. Today, Ayman's mom was not making bread. More on that later. So we got bread from another place across the street. Not quite as good, but still delightfully fresh. My favorite thing about the meals here is their communal nature. People stopping by to have a bite around a tray set on a wooden cylinder in the middle of the street. It wasn't the food that made my breakfast in Shobra so special, but the community. Just a bunch of guys who had known each other since birth, sitting on the corner and shooting the shit, drinking coffee and tea and chain-smoking cigarettes, while the younger generation ran around us laughing, playing soccer, and fetching us more coffee. Now back to Ayman's mom. And yes, the one dim fluorescent bulb in this room seemed to resonate with my GoPro's slow-mo in such a way that caused this horrible flicker. But I did figure out that if I changed the playback speed to exactly 150%, the flicker went away. So while I had grand visions of slow motion shots, sometimes you just have to roll with the punches, and we'll be watching these ladies work in 1.5 speed. As I alluded to earlier, 6 days a week Ayman's mom made standard bread. But lucky for me, today was the 7th. Today, she was making Feteer, an Egyptian pastry that dates back to the pharaohs. Starting with 3 balls of dough, each is rolled out and bathed in clarified butter. Once being fully kneaded out, it's folded up and placed to the side. Then the process is repeated with the second piece of dough, and the first is placed on the second and folded in. The process is then repeated with the third piece of dough, with the first 2 going into the third. Once being kneaded out to its final baking form, it was washed again in clarified butter. Going into the oven for about 10 minutes at 500 degrees, came out nice and crispy. Sometimes she would sell it whole. For me, she cut it into quarters, and I must admit, I ate a whole quarter right then and there, perhaps with some more butter. This was such a great experience. I can't thank her enough, and I can't wait to come back one day and eat more Feteer. The day marches on here in Cairo, back in Abdeen. I thought it'd be a cool experience to show you guys what it's like to buy alcohol here in Egypt. So we're outside the Bazaar Sakara. As you can see, they have Heineken branding. I'm not sure, from what I understand, there's only one distribution company that does distribution for all of Egypt, basically, and they're owned by Heineken, so there may be other shops, I'm not sure, but basically everything has this Heineken branding of the prices here. So yeah, you come in, all the beers. I tried to negotiate to go behind the counter, but was unsuccessful. And up there you have Heineken, and all the local beers. Heineken's the only import that I've seen. Over here you have liquor, they have a decent amount of vodka, and then wine, which is pretty hangover inducing, not great. I'd like to go back there, but some of the beers they have are 15, 20%. So they really pack a punch. There aren't that many options, but there's some good beers. So, go on now to Doqqi, little hipster area to get some food. So, hopefully it's good. Doqqi. Turns out it's not actually a hipster area, it's more upscale, but see all different food trucks. Let's go eat some good shit. You can see all these little containers here. It's like a little container bar. Well, it's like a big container bar, but with no alcohol and much more food. And you go to this kiosk and you put money, you give them money and they charge it to an app on your phone, and you can go around and use it at all these places. First we have, how do you say this?
Kibda.
Kibda?
Kibda and awanis.
We have kibda and awanis. That's not right. It has beef liver, beef, tomatoes, tahini, onion, and a white sauce. Oh yeah. There's a really long line for this place, and I can see why. My food guide Sharif insisted that next I try the Alexandrian-style seafood. First, a soup with pan-fried shrimp, scallops, and tilapia. After a few minutes of flames, cream was added and cooked down, along with green onions, garlic, and onion powder. The main dish was a seafood medley sandwich with shrimp, tilapia, calamari, lobster, peppers, onions, lettuce, and a cream sauce. I usually don't like so many different flavors in one place, but this sandwich knocked it out of the park. And of course, there were fries. Sharif also insisted on being my cameraman for the night, citing his experience as an amateur photographer. Here, he told me to be a real Egyptian, I could not use a spoon, but I had to sip the soup from the bowl. Trying Egyptian non-alcoholic beer. Burrell. Tastes like beer, but with none of the fun. It tastes actually like a 40 kind of. It tasted like shit. All said, the wrap, soup, sandwich, fake beer, 2 waters, and this delicious Oreo brownie cake only cost me 220 pounds, or about 14 bucks. Not bad. I'm so full. Crazy. Leaving this place. Now for my final experience, check off meeting up with Amon to go to an Egyptian nightclub.
Peace, Sharif.
So we're going very, very fast right now. There's always a lot of traffic, and you can't really move in Cairo, so...
Want to find the highway, then we go fast, man.
Yeah, when they can... Doesn't say anything for the infrastructure. Hopefully I can edit this into some video that makes any sense. We'll find out. Oh, that's a speed bump. There's Egyptian clubs are much different than any other club I've been to.
Totally different, man.
Just a little different, man.
No, totally different.
Totally different, man. There's like a strip club stage. It's all seated. There's no stripping. Everyone just goes up to dance. But this place, I mean, we got there. When we got there, it was about 12:31. Things were just starting to kick off, and now it's 4
o'clock. Yeah, man.
Things got progressively crazier. There's some Bahraini, huh?
Yes, Bahraini.
Bahraini guys across the across the row there. Maybe kids of billionaires. Maybe. Guy had like a Lacoste shirt on, so it's very fancy. And just throwing out, I mean, granted they're 5-pound bills, so it's like 30 cents each, but an enormous stack of money.
Yeah.
And he just...
It was much money, man.
Yeah, he was throwing out 500 pounds every few seconds. So, then this guy from Kuwait, right, was right next to us. He was in a wheelchair, and he was a total dick. Every 5 seconds, he would get up to leave, and he would like move to different sides of the table.
He was given by 50 pounds, you know, not by 5.
Yeah, this guy was older, and he was throwing ridiculous amounts of money. Yeah. And then from the peanut gallery, who do you think that guy was Saudi? The other guy that was behind him? Yeah, this other guy was Saudi, was throwing money over him. It turned into a competition. They made up, they kissed cheeks. Anyway, peace.
Peace, man.
Peace.
Peace.
Salam.
Salam. Salam alaikum.